All right, we are live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the fourth day of the SME Solutions Expo. We hope that everyone has had a great time browsing the virtual exhibition booths and taking advantage of all the great deals happening right here. So, right now on the virtual SME CEO Forum floor, I have with me Miss Nerissa Lee, District Sales Manager from FedEx Malaysia. FedEx is a logistics solutions provider connecting people and connecting economies across the world. And today, Ms. Nerissa will be talking to us about the digitalization of logistics solutions, a crucial area in today's changing world. So over to you, Nerissa.
Thank you, Sang Hong, for the introduction. A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of FedEx Malaysia, I would like to thank you for taking the time to participate in this webinar. We hope that our presentation today will provide insight and add value to your business. The host of solutions that FedEx provides here have crafted to address common pain points faced by SMEs today. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted, disrupted, and forced businesses to evolve the way it operates, pushing business owners to rethink their strategies and approaches to remain sustainable. We believe that in order for business to survive and thrive in today's market, it needs to be agile, adaptable, and purpose-driven. So can I have the slide on the areas that I'm going to cover today?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So today I'll be covering these key areas: the SME landscape amidst the COVID-19 era, Asia booming tech-savvy middle-class market, consumer shift pre- and post-pandemic, digitalize, also how to pave the way of success with digitalizing your logistics solutions from FedEx. So let me take you through some of the global impact that have taken place since the outbreak of the COVID-19. So overall, as we understand that the fatality caused by COVID-19 continue to increase. From the data compiled by Johns Hopkins University, more than 1 million people have lost their lives. And as of today, more than 40 million positive cases have been reported. Closer to home in Southeast Asia, many countries have implemented various measures to curb virus outbreak, including social distancing, lockdown, travel, and business restrictions. As we speak now, Selangor, KL, Sabah, and Putrajaya are also going through the CMCO. So so how can we, have this impact in terms of the global economy? In order to give you a clearer picture, let me take you from a macro global view to give you an idea and narrow it down regionally and locally. So many argue that, countermeasures taken by governments have significant, if not greater impact to the global economy than the virus itself. Globally, it has been the worst year recorded. According to the World Economic Outlook forecast, the global economic growth is projected at a negative of 4.9%, and the global GDP is expected to drop by 4.9%. If this persists, it could wipe out $12 trillion over a period of just 2 years. Many countries are indeed of emergency aid as well in the form of financial support. Now, how about the impact closer to home, specifically among SME in Malaysia? A recession in a global scale means a recession in local markets too. Consumer will be more unlikely to go out to shop due to fear of the virus. Consumer will be more careful with their spending due to uncertainty and with ever more careful and mindful of every dollar they spend. Part of the Malaysian government plan is to boost the economy through digitalization of SMEs and pushing for e-commerce. So the government has invested over 70 million into Malaysia Online and campaign Beli Barangan Buatan Malaysia. Furthermore, the government plans to allocate another 400 million under the National Economy Recovery Plan for Mine Assist. This is a time where SME needs to relook their supply chain and overall logistics support for their business. This is also where FedEx has been rapidly embarking on a mission to help SME in their digitalization in logistics solutions. So this pandemic has impacted the way businesses operate and even the way we live our lives. and the effect of this pandemic appear to be here for the long haul. And as such, today, we will be sharing with you some key insight that would be beneficial for your business recovery to help your business to be agile, hence adapting to the new normal. But before we get into the digitalization of logistics solution, it is important to fully understand the vast opportunities available here in Asia, which has one of the fastest growing middle class economy in the world. So let us take a look in the Asia, especially where we are in the Southeast Asia is a melting pot. As a region, we have been long a world leader in close regional integration, and our closely knit economies are primed for international business opportunities. It is our intertwined economies that give us the edge to speed ahead of other markets and attract investors to give Asia its edge to speed ahead of other markets. And it is this reason that Asia is still one of the fastest growing middle class economy in the world. An estimate of up to 60% of cross-border trade in intra-Asia. Intra-Asia export is 60% of regional export, which is second only to intra-EU export, which is 68%. Despite the economic impact from the COVID-19, expected to curtail Asian economic growth in 2020, China and ASEAN is expected to rebound in 2021 due to Chinese demand for goods, which they are currently rebounding. So, knowing all that, what can we deduce about consumer behavior pre and post pandemic? So we believe that as long as the COVID represents a health threat, working from home will be the new normal, with more and more companies opting for flexible working options. As such, this would mean that people would opt or even rely on shopping online. The market conditions are fast tracking consumers to be more familiar to e-commerce, and e-commerce sales continue to grow across all categories and industrial that deal in B2C. In short, people are moving online to shop for essentials, and this trend is here to stay. Among consumers who have been buying more since April 2020, 80% plan to continue online purchase of essentials even in the future. So for retail establishment, moving to e-commerce is taking on new urgency now. So how can FedEx help deliver business possibility to you? Leveraging on technology-driven solution? Well, as business strategize for recovery, it is important to look into key areas that will help drive effective end-to-end supply chain management, namely by 1, focus on end-to-end supply chain constraint management. We need to identify possible constraints in each area of the supply chain. For example, internal, external limitation, raw material availability, and etc. Refine alternate supply sources. Alternate supply sources for material will need to be established. If this is limited, consider leverage on buffer stock or expedite supply turnaround time. Secure your logistic capacity, leveraging on various modes of transport, including air and sea to minimize lost opportunities. Now, let us take a look at how seamless logistics can make all the difference. On the screen, you can see an example of pickup done on day 0 and the delivery on day 1. From the point of pickup to the point delivery, there are at least 7 more touch points in between. What does that mean? Well, I mean that there are many opportunities for some things to go wrong. Hence, the accuracy for the information flow through our automated system and the electronic data capture is crucial. It enables the whole process to be accurate and smooth. It also allows custom clearance to be done in advance. This plays a major role in reducing the risk of delays. And how can we ensure a positive experience with consistent, smooth custom clearance? So first of all, we need to ensure our documentation is accurate. The most basic of the shipping documentation are the AV bills and the commercial invoices. While they are basic and frequently prepared, it is not always that the information spelled out is accurate, and the inaccuracy may result in possible delays to our shipment down the line. Some other additional documentations may be licenses and permits, depending on the requirements of the destination countries. For example, in Malaysia, you will need an import permit for the pharmacy department if you're bringing in certain medications. So in this slide, apart from accurate documentations, licenses, and permits, we also need to know, what is prohibited is equally crucial to us. Some of the common prohibited items are day-to-day items which seems totally harmless to us, such as perishable food items, e-cigarettes, and even cosmetic, which we would not have thought of as prohibited items. Then there are controlled drugs, poultry products, and others. Imagine sending or importing something prohibited without knowing the fact, right? Then there will be likely be many hours and effort spent to rectify the situation. Sometimes there can even be financial and legal implications which can be damaging to our business. So we talk about accuracy of documentation prepared, knowing about permits and licenses that are needed, as well as prohibited items. So how can we know? Most often than not, we may not even know what can or cannot be sent. So how can we know what is required? So with FedEx, we have this called FedEx Global Trade Manager, or in short, GTM. We can help you to do the following. Number one is to estimate of the duties and taxes at the destination countries. You will have information on the documentation needed. You will have access to regulatory information and also shipping advisories. You may even search for harmonized codes. So I feel this will be very useful to you. So GCM gives you the information that you may need. How then do we ensure that information is transmitted to the destination for custom clearance? Well, FedEx has what we call ETD, or we call it electronic trade documents. What does ETD do? So ETD is a free feature available with your existing FedEx shipping tools that allows you to submit all your custom documentation electronically. You no longer need to print multiple copies so that you can go green. So everything is processed when you create your FAB. With just a click of a button, all the necessary information will be uploaded into the FedEx system, which means the documentation uploaded is available for checking straight away at the destination. Hence, from the start of the shipping documentation preparation, FedEx automation system allows you to have a higher level of accuracy in your shipping information. This immediately give you a better sense of control. In summary, we have a string of automation tools that will help digitalize your logistics solutions. So as I mentioned, all right, first of all, let me just summarize it. First, we have the FedEx Manager of FSM that will help you streamline and prepare your shipping documentation, track your shipment, check the rate code, and request for pickup online, and many more. Then we also have the electronic trade documents ETD that I have shared earlier and followed by FedEx Global Trade Manager. That will help provide you and the document preparations needed for destination countries. We also have the FedEx Billing Online that allows you to download invoices in different formats, such as PDF, CSV, XML, and the latest Excel, XLS. Manage several accounts under a single user ID, bill invoices, credit notes, and shipment details online. And next, we also have the FedEx tracking that allows you to track your shipments via our website or on your phones. You can customize to track the way you want, enhance the visibility with the details wheel of all shipments. You can even customize your report. There is also a wide range of notifications options to choose from. Lastly, FedEx Deliver Manager International, or we call it FDMI. Now, FDMI is a global interactive delivery management solution. What it does is notify recipients of pending deliveries via emails or SMS text messages and allows them to proactively customize final deliveries. So for example, like e-commerce business, sending to a US, for instance, FDMI may be an utmost perfect solution during the holiday seasons for you. So with these logistic management tools, it will benefit you in the cost optimizations and more efficient and effective operations. A seamless logistic solutions will support expertise and make a difference in propelling your business growth and recovery. So the key takeaways today in my presentation, and to wrap up, our COVID-19 has indeed brought a big disruption to the economy. For SME, they are looking to adapt to this disruption. They are looking for the most ideal end-to-end solution for sustainability. Supporting customers, shifting their business model from offline to online is equally crucial now. So, and also leveraging on digital technology and automation provides sustainable solution at scale through the growth of e-commerce. And this is what we at FedEx is committed to deliver to our customers. In a nutshell, a comprehensive logistics system increases operational efficiency and also save time and cost, allowing SME to focus on running and growing your business. So I hope that my sharing today has given you some ideas on how you can rethink, re-strategize, and reprioritize your resources towards achieving an efficient and effective business operation. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will now hand over the control back to the moderator. Send home, back to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Nerissa, for that very enlightening presentation. Thank you very much. All right, so now we will go into the question and answer session from the audience. Right, we have quite an active audience today. Rosita Shiv actually says, "Good morning, Nerissa." So there you go. And also we have a question from Michelle Cow. I hope I pronounced that right. She says, "Hi, how do you ensure the safety of your customers during this pandemic?"
Oh, okay. So for the safety and well-being of our couriers and customers, FedEx and TNT signature guidelines are temporarily adjusted for all shipments with AirPad, within AirPad, with some expectations and an exception as well. This is in effort to minimize physical interaction. So our courier will now only seek verbal confirmations of delivery for most shipments. So this means that your recipients will not be asked to sign for most deliveries until further notice. So there are some limited circumstances in which a signature or some interaction between couriers and recipients may still be required, including, like shipments or signatures on delivery on the air, waybills, or in the contractual arrangement. So, and also like cash on delivery shipments. So as seen with the recent developments, we will quickly adapt and adhere to the precautionary measure depending on the current situation. So FedEx puts a high standard in the health and safety of employees, and we respect the same value and principle upheld by our customers and vendors as well. So I hope that I can answer the questions.
All right. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. As all the precautions taken by FedEx. Okay, we have Jacqueline Tong. She says, "Good morning." Good morning to you as well, Jacqueline. And we have another question from Mei Li Tan. She actually asked, "Online shopping is experiencing an increasing surge that will stay for some time, I am sure. How is FedEx managing the expected surge in parcel volume?"
All right. Okay. So at FedEx, we can mobilize resources from different locations. So to support the surge and have sufficiently trained contractors to be deployed and as when needed. So our automation system let us gain better visibility into our daily shipments. So our sorting system help us to also handle more packages. so without adding too much burden to our workforce, especially at the airports. So the long-term disruption brought on by COVID-19 emphasized the need to balance supply chain efficiency with resilience. The resulting just-in-case supply chains model will utilize a wider roster of supplies, except that the needs to hold inventory and build in the redundancy. So inevitably, production's costs may rise, but this is the cost of continued resilience.
Yes, that is actually a very timely answer, especially managing costs for SMEs. That is one thing that they are very concerned about right now. Okay, so we have actually quite a few questions this morning. One from Charmian Natalie. What are the standard types of logistics solutions that FedEx is able to customize to suit SME business owners' needs?
Okay, good questions. So beyond some of the services that we have shared, right, we are also able to help SME clients with these tailor-to-fit logistics solutions. So first, we're leveraging on the borderless economy with access to over 220 countries and territories. So FedEx Express uses a global air and ground network that is able to efficiently manage the delivery of time-sensitive shipments by a definite time and date with a money-back guarantee. So ship deliveries with a vehicle that matches your unique needs. For example, if it's FedEx is able to cater to a healthcare supply chains with innovations such as we have the Send Away, that this is a combination of the in-packaging device with a web-based platform. Multiple sensors records a shipment's widest set sign on 6 key variables. So temperature, location, light exposure, humidity, stock, and barometrics. So pressure for monitoring and analysis. So the powerful solution gives customer an ability to intervene, better analytical to predict, prevent, and improve outcome, along with the real-time collaboration to support security, integrity, and also delivery compliance. So FedEx Priority Alerts also is another area that Global Service Analyze provides around the clock support, advanced shipments monitoring, and proactive personalized notification in the event of delays. When necessary, they also facilitate customized package recovery. So we have all that in place.
Yes, I think that's very comprehensive for SMEs solutions right here from FedEx. We also have one from Alex Liu. He says, "Morning, Nerissa. Just want to know if there are any specific logistics solutions to manage and simplify international shipping."
Okay, thanks Alex for these questions. As every market requires different custom clearance processes, it is important for the business to understand the market that you are looking to engage and its requirements. For instance, like information, duty, and tax. So the FedEx Global Trade GTM, which I mentioned earlier on, will be a one-stop resources for international information that will assist you in engaging new markets with confidence. So the GTM will be able to help your business too. One is identify the relevant duties and taxes that will be levied against your international shipments, identify and locate the right documents or for your international shipments along. And also it getting important regulatory information specific for the shipments. For instance, like obtain advisory, harmonized code, such that are key in ensuring a smooth custom clearance processes. So as what I mentioned earlier on.
All right. I think that's actually all about the question. Oh, we have one from Meili. It's not really a question, but it's a comment. Thank you, Nerissa, for that insightful presentation. Kudos to FedEx frontliners for ensuring logistics services remain undisrupted. Hashtag Kita Jaga Kita. And I would also like to say thank you to actually all frontliners for ensuring that we stay safe and our services do remain undisrupted during this trying time. All right, so thank you very much, Nerissa, for that presentation. And if any one of you have any questions, please do drop by FedEx's virtual booth. And do take this opportunity to visit all the other virtual booths. They have very special deals for just for SMEs during today's Solutions Expo, which will end tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of the SME Solutions Expo. Don't go away. We'll be having another panel discussion up next, also on internationalization. So please don't go away. That will come on at around 10:45. Thank you, Narissa, and we
Thank you,
will
Stay
see you
home.
again. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning. Hi, Tuan Amran, Encik Johari, and Mr. Woodland. All right. I think everyone is okay. So we've done this before. So I'll do a quick countdown. Going live. All right. And I will introduce you guys, and Johari will take it from there. Okay. All right. So start the countdown. All right, welcome back everyone to the SME Solutions Expo panel discussion. All right, today we have a panel discussion on internationalization and way of global success. With me today is Sheikh Johari Mustafa, founder and CEO of Forest Interactive, Wan Haji Amran Yem, Senior Director of Transformation and Digital Trade from Matrade, and Mr. Muhammad Director of Business Digital Production at Tech. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to the moderator, Mr. Johari. Over to you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Jiang, for the kind introduction, and very good morning to everyone tuning in here today during the SME panel. So this morning we're here with two respectable panelists, Tuan Haji Amran Yem, he's from Matrade, and also J. Mohundran Kamarpulai from MDEC. So good morning, panelists.
Morning, sir. Salam sejahtera.
It'd be great if you could give a brief introduction about who you are here to the audience and yourself, and a brief role in your current organization. We'll start with you, Tuan Haji Amran.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Encik Johari. Assalamualaikum, selamat sejahtera to colleagues, panel members, and as well as audience participants of this event. And first, I would like to thank you, the organizer, Business Media International, for inviting Matrade and to give us opportunities to tell our audience participants a little bit about Matrade. I'm a senior director of Matrade. Those for the benefit of those who are not familiar with Matrade, may I present brief information? Hopefully, somebody can assist me with the slides. Joe, is there?
I will assist with the slides.
Do you have the slides ready? If not, then I just proceed.
Jiang, are you showing the slides?
Yeah, sorry, 10 seconds.
All right. Sorry for the technicalities.
Okay, so can I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we are Matrade and agency under MITI, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, with our task responsibility to promote the exports of Malaysian products and services, manufactured products. Our vision is positioning Malaysia as a global competitive trading nation, and with a mission to promote Malaysia's enterprises to the world, meaning that internalization of Malaysian companies, particularly SMEs. Okay, and then in carrying our responsibilities, we have 46 offices abroad, overseas. 34 trade officers, meaning that we have full office with trade commissioner, assistant trade commissioners, manned by Malaysians, our own people, and we have 12 marketing officers all over the world, also manned by local people of the host countries. Apart from that, we have 5 regional offices in Malaysia, in Penang, in Kuala Terengganu, in Sabah, Sarawak, and Johor. Okay, to assist our exporters. Okay. This is very interesting, timely for you to have these good sessions. I need to highlight, for example, if any of you are not familiar, SMEs consisting of 98.5% of Malaysian establishments, out of about 1 million establishments. And of these, most of them involved in the services sector, about 89.2%, manufacturing 5.3%, construction 4.3%, agriculture 1.1%, and mining 0.01%. It is very important as a backbone of Malaysian economy. Number of people, employees, jobs being carried by SMEs is 98.5%. Just imagine. And in terms of contribution to GDP, is just now is the 98.5% is the number of SMEs in Malaysia, and contribution to GDP is 37.1%. And contribution to employment is 66%. Okay. For Matrade, it's very important for us because we are looking at the overall export ecosystem, meaning that we are working together with Malaysian ministries and agencies, apart from other entities such as MARA, Teraju, PNB, SME Corp, SME Bank, and a lot of other agencies, and as well as local Malaysians supporting services, we call it such as Standard Malaysia, Sirim, Custom, My IPO, Halal, JAKIM, MITI, and a lot of other things, as well as international entities and organizations, including such as Islamic Development Bank, ANSI, FDA, a lot of things. So just very briefly. And for Matrade, we have two important, apart from others divisions, two important divisions that directly involved in export promotion. First division is my division, Exporters Development, and as well as my colleagues, the other division is Export Promotion Division. Okay, that's a little bit brief about Matrade. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuan Haji. Mr. Moo, yeah, how about yourself? Bit of introduction. I think your mic is muted.
Okay, my apologies.
There you go.
Yeah, very good morning, Johari, as well as Amran. Thank you very much also for the opportunity to be here. So a bit about MDEC, or maybe a bit about myself first. So my name is Bondan, as you know. I'm the Director for Business Digital Adoption team at MDEC. I lead this team primarily focusing on supporting the traditional businesses to go online. So we've got multiple types of programs, incentives, as well as we advise government in terms of the right policies to look into. Of course, SMEs are predominantly where we spend a lot of our time. And just a bit of a background about MDEC itself. MDEC is a Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. Basically, we sit under the Ministry of Communication and Multimedia. And our primary role is basically to drive the digital economy of the country. As you can see now that the digital economy contribution, the latest from DOSM has shown that we are at what 19.1%, as opposed to what 18.3%, 18.5% earlier, I think. And so that's a great significant improvement. And we do three things basically. Number one is we empower people to become more digitally skilled. So that's the talent bit. The second part is actually we empower businesses to go digital. That's where I come from. Under this, there are two areas. We look into the tech companies. I'm sure you're all very familiar. Of course, Johari, you're also one of them. Who, part of the MSC community, part of the GAIN community. We actually help to build and also support the technology companies. And the other side, which is considerably new, it's actually the helping the traditional businesses. That's where I come from, where we primarily look at how we can support the traditional businesses to see where they can start their digital journey, as well as what are the key components, tools, incentives that probably be relevant to them. And the last one is, I'm sure everyone's familiar, so you know where Cyberjaya is, the MSC, the heart of MSC, and part of the parcel of what we do is actually to bring in investment into the country, particularly on the ICT side. And of course, Amran, you may have forgotten MDEC as one of your partners there just now.
I'm very sorry, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. we can elaborate on that later on.
Definitely. I mean, Matrade is a very close partner to us. We work very closely in supporting our ICT companies actually through Matrade. I think there's a lot of work we've done, and we're very thankful for what Matrade has done, where we can support our ICTs to go global. Yeah, so that's what I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tuan Haji Amran and Mr. Muhu, for the kind introduction. And I'll just introduce a bit about myself. My name is Johari Mustafa. I'm an entrepreneur. I started the company Forest Interactive about 14 years ago. It's a tech company which focuses on mobile services with the operators. So in a nutshell, we provide platform as a service to enable mobile and game producers or game publishers to monetize over this large mobile operator network. So some of the companies we work with include Axiata, Telenor, Telefonica, just some of the big name operators we connect to on the demand side. So that's for the distribution. And on the supply side, we work with some of the content partners. From the east, we work with companies like Tencent, Garena. Those are just some of the game publishers we work with. So content per se, it's quite huge. So there's videos, there's audios, there's a lot of content that's fitted on the mobile side. So over the years, we've expanded to about 14 countries physically. And this is also thanks to both MDEC and Matrade. I remember 4 years ago in the US, we were there with MDEC and they provided quite a good immersion program for us to enter the market. And in Indonesia, we were introduced to a lot of the partners by Matrade. And then recently in Almaty, Kazakhstan, we found out that Matrade was there and, we set up a presence there. So I think both these agencies are quite synonym with the exports market, both tech as well as the overall trade. And as a company, we've grown in terms of workforce size. We're now hosting 220 talents and have also expanded our base of operations to support 36 countries. So thank you both for the introduction. Before we go ahead, I'd like to share some slides. Xiang, if you could just share the 3 slides that I have, just a glimpse of how business outlook has been for the past few months. So I want to start off this topic conversation about just looking at the year itself today, 2020. We're seeing a lot of comments, feedback, news about how the economy is moving ahead. Let's just be brutally honest here. It hasn't been what we all expect to be. It's been quite a rough ride here in 2020. We've seen over the years, there's always a pickup in terms of growth. However, for 2020, it's suddenly a negative decline. And for the first time in the past decade, we're seeing economies contract with no clear indication on when the recovery would take place. So our growth in terms of real GDP is also on the decline, and recovery, as everyone is expecting, is for the year 2021. So I'm sure a lot of us here on the audience, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you'll be asking, hey, what's happening with the economy? How can I scale together with the assistance of our agencies that we have today on the panel? So next slide. Everyone is wondering post-pandemic, what's next? What are our key decisions, especially during these turbulent and difficult times? All around us, we see reductions in terms of workforce. Of course, the government here in Malaysia is helping through the Penjana program. How do we move around in business activity? We also seen some industries thrive during these troubling times. Most of them related to tech, digital. So we ask ourselves, are there opportunities here today? We often see sayings such as opportunities after the storm. However, realistically, how can we actually apply it in today's pandemic? So next slide. There's also talk about digitalization taking place. It's always been happening here in Malaysia. However, the pace has suddenly zoomed up and accelerated. So are we all digitally enabled in terms of business process and execution? And are we going to be successfully embracing this digital adoption? So with that being said, let's move on the panel today and then understand better from the SME point of view what we can do to talk and discuss about this in terms of strategy and advice from the two experienced panelists. So I've got some questions here today. Let's talk about it further. Let's start with Mr. Muhu. Since July, MDEC has made a lot of big announcements One of it, the smart automation grants or digital adoption, as part of government's initiative to expand support for a lot of the SMEs to make the digital leap during this turbulent times. So how has the uptake been? Has it been successful?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a good point to start off as well. And thanks for your introduction just now. I think it does set the pace of today's discussion. I think all doom and gloom, but again, the silver lining is always what we look for in some of these things. So I think one of the things that we look at when businesses today, the current challenges they face, are primarily not just growth alone. One of the key things that has happened from MCO onwards is that many of the companies are unable to sustain their businesses, right? So therefore, to be able to continue your business has become one of the top priority, top of the mind for most of the businesses, especially SMEs. And so when we looked at the many things that can be done, of course, one of the things that we can support is in terms of providing some sort of assistance when it comes to easing the financial, support or issues that they may have. Again, the Smart Automation Grant was introduced basically to help kickstart the digital journey of these companies, yeah, well, Malaysian companies, and the idea was actually to see how can this incentive be provided, and so that the SMEs, especially, to look at it in terms of digitalization, simple things like, for example, looking at improvement of their process cycle, improvement of their productivity, human resource, yeah, labor productivity, and all this. So this is crucial because we felt that the time is right, and therefore when the government announced it, the grant had a huge interest. Just within the first couple of weeks, we got about 1,000 over registered interest on this grant. The grant basically is a matching grant. If you just Google FAG MDEC, you'll be able to find it. It's a matching grant up to 200,000 ringgit, yeah, and it's targeted for the services industry, right? And the criteria are pretty simple. As long as you're Malaysian owned, more than 50%, and then you have a good financial standing. We understand the current situation is not the best time to talk about that, but significant standing, and then actually you can already apply. And the grant is done in such a way in a pitching format. And if you go to our website, you can already see for now, I mean, we work on a pipeline basis. There are more than 30, I think close to 30 uh, companies who have already gotten the matching grant. That all the names are there. And also the whole process is very transparent, where you can just go online and register yourself. And then after that, you'll be given a link where you can actually put in all the documents you want. So it's made simple. And I think what's the most important thing about this grant is it's not just a financial support, but rather how we have done it is that we have also linked it up to specific accelerator programs. Why we did that is because sometimes even if you have money, it doesn't mean that you would know what you want to solve. Especially in the digital space, things keep changing. Every day you hear new technology coming in front of you, and especially for the traditional businesses, it will be quite daunting. So what we did was we actually part of our partner programs. We work with the banks where they have actually also invested money in terms of mentoring SMEs. So that's also another thing that's happening in terms of a public-private partnership that we have started. And the best part is that the bank is doing it for free. So SMEs, when you come into FAG, you'll be given an option whether you want to apply directly. Now, if you know what you want to solve, because you're going to pitch in front of us. So then uh, by all means you can go, but also we give you an opportunity for you to complete this 1 month program just to fine tune. Number one is to understand what are the opportunities and pain point in the digital space. Right? For example, if you want to go global, what are the things that you look at? If you want to improve your productivity, all that. The second part is then we help you to fine tune and we connect you with a possible technology solution provider. This is also something very quite daunting, I would say. Many of us, when I speak to SMEs, one of the first things they say is, "Moho, I get it. Digital adoption is really crucial, but I don't know how." And one of the don't know how is there are so many technology solution providers out there. Who do I talk to? Where do I start? So by going through some of these programs, even before talking to the technology solution providers, as a business owner, you have some clarity in terms of what problem you're trying to solve or what opportunity you're looking for. Therefore, we connect this into a program, and by the time you come and pitch to us, you probably already have about 50, 60% idea of what you want to do. And so you're not so dependent on the technology solution provider.
Yeah.
The TSP now becomes your partner rather than them trying to lead the journey. So
Wow.
a bit
Wow.
of
Thank you, Mo. I'm sure that SEG is one of the many grants that MDEC has out there, together with Matrade as well. On to Tuaji. To most people, Matrade has always been the name synonymous with B2B events and trade shows. I mean, we for once here in Forest, we've had many use case for some of the grants that Matrade has to offer. MTG has really helped a lot in terms of international expos. Now that this physical in-person events today, it's not really advised to move forward. We've seen a lot of event organizers cancel events due to the restrictions of globally, not just here in Malaysia. How has that kind of changed Matrade? Because you're so synonymous with doing exporters event. I always get an invite every 2 weeks. This market here in Latin America and Southeast Asia, you guys are moving very fast. And suddenly it's changed. What has that changed for Matrade? Are you doing it differently now?
Okay, thank you, Joe. Actually, we continue enhance more aggressive because of COVID, facilitating what we are doing, especially regarding the virtual e type of assistance. Please, I would like to highlight, Matrade is not only grant. Matrade grant is only secondary, is help to facilitate our companies, our SMEs in particular, to go into internationalization of global market. It is not the main thing. If you have the money but you don't know how to go into this market, it's worthless. That's why we also provide training, advisory, a lot of things. We have business information center, we have permanent export exhibition center. Okay, let me go through your questions. Okay, for example, during this COVID, what we have done, we intensify. We have this e-biz match or B2B business meeting. During this COVID, we have conducted about 700 business meetings. We've reported export sales of about 500 million. Just imagine, And among the products and services, we have machinery, E&E, F&B, furniture, glove. Okay. Before I forget, hopefully, Joe, your company you mentioned just now, you going to Kazakhstan and open an office. Hopefully, you apply and utilize our services export fund.
Yes.
Have you? Okay,
Yes.
good. That is specifically to promote Malaysian export of services of Malaysian export services globally. Okay, okay. And secondly, that one just now is e-business. Secondly, is my export. It is a market intelligence, trade intelligence provided by our office. For example, during COVID period, we have provided more about 600 trade alert circulated to our members, and we have 125 product market study, and we have more than 2,000 trade leads, meaning that trade inquiries that we give to forward to our members, and also e-trade. E-trade is for example, MDEC just now, I think they do a lot of things, but this one for us, we do e-trade specifically for export purposes. It is a program that we offer 500 to the eligible companies to be involved in this program. For example, we have assisted more than 700 companies to go into e-marketplaces. Okay, we have several e-marketplaces in our list. And webinar you mentioned just now. It is a kind of training assistance programs that we normally we conducted physically, but because of COVID, we intensify virtual webinar. For example, we have more than about 128 webinars with about 5,000 viewers so far, and continue counting. Okay, another thing we want to highlight now, please bear with me. Importantly now, because we are hosting APEC, in conjunction with that, we are supposed to have a physical APEC exhibition, but now we are having My APEC 2020 virtual exhibition, and we have more than 300 exhibitors from Malaysia and also from APEC member countries. I urge our listeners, our viewers, our participants now, if you have not registered with my APEC exhibition, which start from 1st September until 30 end of this year, please do so, because you still have 1 week to register with my APEC. My APEC exhibition, for sure, it is just imagine Malaysia plus APEC member countries. It has four main components: virtual exhibition, e-business or B2B business meetings. You can do your business pitching for selected companies, and also webinars. Just imagine how the things that you will be missing if you're not involved in this My APEC exhibition. This one, for information, you can check with My APEC 2020 at market.gov.my, or you can contact Market to get to know more about this My APEC exhibition. Okay, and then we are aggressively also continuing doing this business matching and webinars, pitching for this My APEC exhibition 2020. Okay, next, the first time, we normally every year we do National Export Day, but this year because of COVID, we did the National Export Day. It was 3 days event. We have more than about 3,000 participants, and via social media about more than 10,000 participants, and it was a very successful event. We plan to do also next year, coming in National Export Day 2021. God's insyaAllah, God willing. Okay, now opportunity to exhibit. We have permanent exhibition center in Madrid, second floor. We call it Malaysia Expo Exhibition Center. We are also moving towards hybrid physical and virtual exhibition with B2B facilities and other things, other facilities. You mentioned about MDG. MDG, thanks God, Alhamdulillah, during COVID, being successful. Now more people intensifying. For example, during COVID, only we disbursed about 20 million grant, more than 1,000 companies, and significantly, it registered about 1.9 billion in export sales. Imagine 1.9 billion export sales. Apart from that, to assist our companies during this difficult time, MDG also expanded their services to include virtual events. You mentioned just now, when we wanted to help our companies, how do we further can help them in terms of MDG supporting them virtual events, because many of the events being cancelled. We asked our 46 trade officers abroad if we can follow the model of our TPO, Trade Promotion Organization. How do they do? Have they started a virtual exhibition? Unfortunately, I'm proud to inform you, with the help of our other agencies, ministries, also government, MITI in particular, and with our trade officers abroad and our colleagues, exhibitions players in Malaysia, Madrid, I think, was the first an entity, trade promotion organization, to be aggressively assisting our Malaysian companies in virtual exhibitions. Okay, not only that, logistic costs is very important. Through MDG, we also assist our Malaysian companies to for them to reimburse partial logistic costs, and then many of our companies, some of the events, they paid the deposit, the hotel accommodations, the deposit for the flight. We also reimburse them for the cancellation and or postponement of events, provided they are eligible. There are all the syarat the requirements there. You can find out more. And then I already mentioned about Services Export Fund just now, and not to forget Bumi Putra Women and Youth Exporters Development Program. Also, we did that. Okay. And apart from that, I already mentioned Business Information Center, our business library. I can say confidently, the best business library in Malaysia. I'm proud to say that. And also, I mentioned just now, training and advisory units we have. And lastly is the export integrated center for exports, which involve Ministry of Agriculture, Customs, Exim Bank, SME Corp, MIDF, SME Bank, Ministry of Health, JAKIM, SIRIM. Maybe in the future we can include MDEX, inshallah. Okay, thank you. That's briefly. Hopefully that answered the questions.
Yeah. Yes, that. Well, you both of you came really prepared with numbers and statistics. I'm actually taking notes here. Because things have moved so fast. Mr. Muhu, so I originally wanted to ask you about what's a suitable strategy for SME, but I think I want to move on towards something much more close to the heart of entrepreneurs, because we can talk about strategy I know you can talk about strategy for a long time. There's talk about Industry Revolution 4.0, digitalization, and since MDEC, as an agency, you focus very much on the digital ecosystem. Right? So, do you feel there's anything specific on the services side? Just we hear a lot of talk about the services industry, and like Don Haji mentioned, it plays a big part of the export market. And do you think there is anything specifically that the government should prioritize and push to go international? Well, you are part of the government. I mean, there are SMEs coming to you and I say, hey, we want to export, but how do we do this? I mean, is there a demand? You know how Malaysian entrepreneurs are. I said, is there a demand? And if there's a demand, then only I'll go. It's not exactly they're going to say, hey, I want to really expand. So that's part of the government's role as well to like say, hey, let's go expand. But you got both sides has got to make it happen. So is there any advice that you can give entrepreneurs or SMEs like, hey, what works to be exported, or just they have to come to you and tell you what they do, or yeah, any tips on that?
Yeah, sure, sure. Thanks, Joe. I think this is a very big question. I will attempt to try to sort of, peel some of these elements that you have just shared. But obviously, I think it's a very important point of discussion. So, as I've said just now, business continuity is one of it. But a lot of Malaysian SMEs, especially, I would have to say, I have to give kudos to them that actually they're very resilient. Yeah, very resilient SMEs. You can see from the data points in the beginning when there were surveys done where SME associations and all that, they've done quite a number of surveys that say that almost 70% of the Malaysian businesses will most likely close down or at least reduced.
Yeah.
And then SME Corp did a survey recently, and you can see that's not entirely true now. Just within this 4 or 5 months, SMEs have found a way to actually continue their business, and even as you rightly put it, of course, in some sectors they've been fortunate to even surpass their growth trajectory. And I would like to skew it a little bit about coming from the digital standpoint, because not just this, because what I do, but again, also what MDEC is propagating. Today, technology used to be just one horizontal thing, right? But today, when you talk about digital, it cuts across everything we do. So the entire value chain today has gone digital. And if you're not on digital, and I think there's something is really wrong with you. That's the conversation. I'm not saying this, yeah. That's the conversation out there. This is what people are going to tell you, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at digital, you can basically, it's very simple. I'm just simplifying it. You can look at the front end, the mid, and the back end, right? And a lot of our companies have started working on the front end. It means like you're putting yourself online, and you're putting yourself on e-commerce, for example. I think that's fantastic. And that's going to help you to basically try to find new market, and as well as perhaps to also look at how you can increase some of your sales. And in today's environment, your market has become automatically global, or if not regional, primarily because of the importance that people are putting on virtual. I think Chamran, gave all the fantastic statistics that showed that, look, now even if you do conferences online, or even if you do exhibition online, you can actually see a decent number of participants, right? And I think you're familiar with our creative conference that we're going to have. The first time we're doing it virtual, and the whole idea was actually to connect our local businesses to global buyers, and they used to be a very costly event, because we basically have to woo these people from all around the world, spend a lot of money, bring them to Malaysia and connect them. And we used to get somewhere around 20 over good countries participating. But this year, when everything has gone online, what has happened is that we've moved up about 50 other countries coming on board, right? That's more than 10. And the opportunities here, it's actually what the SMEs need to quickly figure out.
Yeah.
So if you don't have, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Go ahead. Sorry, finish.
Just, I'll summarize a little bit more. If you don't have that online visibility, the first thing that any company should have, then I think you're missing out a lot, right? Online visibility, not just on website, but even being on the social media, right? Today, social e-commerce is a big thing. You go where the market is, so therefore that's where you bring. Now, a lot of us are spending time on that, but another thing I want to just quickly remind all the SMEs to start looking at your mid and back end as well. How do you work on your procurement? How do you work with your vendor? How do you manage your warehousing? Those conversations are even more greater today because these things are now becoming global as well. Right? Your vendors are no longer just within the country. You can go to market, B2B marketplaces and figure that out at a global scale. So I think those are some of the things that I want to sort of quickly put on the table.
Okay, thank you, Mohu. Quick question there, just to disrupt this
Sure.
what you've said. What's so far? I heard there's about what 3,300 over MSC companies under MDEC now.
Yeah,
Is that
that's about the number. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've met and mostly deals with tech, digital, IT, anything to do with the digital economy, right? So I've met some entrepreneurs out there, and I try and be that ambassador for both agencies, right? And when they do tech, and then I ask them, hey, are you guys MSC status? And they say no. Uh, no, we haven't applied. They no longer say no. What is that? And today they know. Oh, no, we haven't applied. They acknowledge this. What's your advice out there to them? I find that a lot of these entrepreneurs who are doing digital, but they don't register as an MSC status company or a startup. They're not in that ecosystem, and that's them everyone is going. So you got to just very quick advice for these companies that have not registered MSC companies. Should they
Yeah, sure. So a quick recap. I mean, the MSc status basically is a bill of guarantees given by the government. Yeah, if you're a technology company and you are a producer, and then you have an opportunity to actually gain the benefit of this 10 bills of guarantees that are available, and of course, some part of it is in terms of global, access to market, and as well as some tax incentives as well. But I think and also, about a couple of years ago, we also opened it up to startups. Yeah, there was also a specific focus on startups to get them to MSc. But again, I think MSc status is it's something that you would want to look at if you have specific needs. Yeah? I wouldn't say that everybody needs to become an MSc. In fact, even at MDEC, we support all technology companies. Right? Even if you look at your gain programs that you have, we don't make it a mandatory that you have to be an MSc, because if you're an MSc, that means you're producing. You have the IP creation capability. But even there's a lot of things I do today, working with the companies. We work with every technology company out there.
Okay.
Because there are companies who have got different needs, different specific needs that may not be an MSc material. But
Yeah.
to me, I think that's all right.
So you're saying, sorry to cut you there. You're saying that even if I'm not an MSc company, and then I see you guys do a lot of immersion programs overseas for the export market, that we can we can join you guys without registering MSc. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can. You can be part of it, but of course, we will do the due diligence. If you're an MSc, we know you better. It's easier for us. But if you're not, we're not going to say no. We'll still allow you to come in, but a little bit more due diligence, just to make sure that you have what is required for the program.
Fair enough. Thank you. And on to you, Tuan Haji Amran. I'll just go direct with skip some of these questions. Some of these SMEs, right? This target of Matrade to actually grow them and go for an export market. There's always this typical mindset, like when I say, hey, there's some grant, and I do respect you mentioning earlier. Matrade is not about grant; it's about just growing the market, growing the SMEs, and pushing them outwards. But even this simple thing there's incentive there, and then they come up with a response like, oh, it's difficult to apply. I mean, how to get this? It's like they have to be spoon fed. And I know for a fact that Matrade does a lot of things just to buzz this, to shout about, hey, there's a lot of incentive. You can work this incentive towards growing your market, work together. So how do you quash this mindset that there's a barrier and there's this susah mentality, this difficult mentality for the SMEs? Some of them are small, they're growing, and there's always that mindset. How do you simplify the process of convincing these SMEs today? Very, very briefly, yeah. Tuan Haji. Oh, I think we've lost Tuan Haji there for a bit.
Yeah, no worries. Perhaps Joe, I can also
Yeah.
just chip
Oh,
in.
there you go.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah, I'm some technical difficulties. Okay, what is the questions?
Okay. The question
Okay,
is, how
okay,
did you?
okay. Okay, before that, okay, please, we sometimes we always receive this kind of complaint or comment from our SMEs.
Yes.
It's very difficult to register as market member. I do not understand. When I ask them what is so difficult, which part is difficult, they cannot answer. Normally they hear they heard from their colleagues.
Yes.
Okay, I told them, how can you say it is difficult? You have not registered. So imagine from what I said just now. Imagine those sale companies, particularly SMEs, who are not market members. So many things that you are missing the
Yes.
export opportunities, because every year we have thousands of visitors coming to our Malaysia Export Exhibition Center, engaging with us. We also have international sourcing program or buying. It was called buying mission. We brought in when the physical time we brought in a lot of these foreign buyers, and we are continuing doing that with our webinars, with our e kind of export promotion program. So please, and registering as my market members are free of charge. We never ask for money except for our Malaysia Export Exhibition Center. Is very minimum charge, 600 for products and 200 for services per year, not per month, brother and sisters. Imagine, it's almost free. So please, when you register with us, you are in our radar. Anything we have all these visitors, foreign buyers, trade inquiries. When you are in our radar, we can send the trade inquiries for importing Malaysian products and using Malaysian services to all of you that are market members. Thank you.
Thank you, Tuan Haji, for the very direct response, and I think that's needed. To just to tell the entrepreneurs and SMEs out there, hey, it's not that difficult, right? Just go ahead, walk in or contact you guys, and there's online forms. Just one the last question I want to also ask.
Joe, sorry, Joe,
Yeah.
before that, if I could just chip in a little bit. I know
Yeah,
we have a bit of
sure.
time between, but I
Trying to
think
answer.
Jamran brought about a very good point, and I think I feel it too when I speak to the SMEs. And as government agency, Madrid, okay, is good because people know, okay, when I want to go across the country, I know I can go to Madrid, yeah. But also, if you look at digitalization, it's even harder. And sometimes we feel it because, for example, government have given so many different kind of programs, incentives. We still keep getting SMEs coming saying that, hey, how come there's not enough help, or how come I didn't know about this, how come I don't know about that. So we take that very seriously. And one of the things that when I started looking at digitalization, we actually we realized that without a sort of for digitalization, yeah, it's even worse because there's so many things out there. One of the things that was really needed was actually for us to come up with a central touch point.
Okay.
So because the central touch point is not to bring everything together in one place, that is not possible. But a central touch point for them from the SME's lens. So when they think about digital now, there's actually something that we launched in August called DX, dx.com.my.
Okay.
So DX is a digital accelerator
Yeah.
or Pemacu Digital, meaning to say it can actually accelerate your digital journey.
Okay.
And the idea is that if you go to this website, number one is as an SME, you get yourself profile, you register and get yourself profile. And after that, you're connected to all the different programs out there. So we have started with MDEC programs. Now we're actually now talking to all the partners to bring in all the different programs from SME Corp, MPC, Matrix, and all that. Anything that's related to digital.
Okay.
So at least from a digital standpoint, we realize, especially now with what's happening where digital has been accelerated, there were more than 20% extra SMEs out there. We're talking about 1.2 million SMEs. 20% is kind of big. Of these SMEs today have never thought about digital, now wanting to look at digital.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Mo. We've got 3 minutes left. I'll go on the last question, and I want to add on to that if you allow me as well. There's also a question from the floor, and I'll just combine this question to one of the last questions I have. Tuan Haji, you've I assume with your years of experience, you've seen a lot of things. Some of the most common mistakes that SME makes. One of the questions here was SMEs who are going international for the first time. What's your advice on that? But I want to reshape that into, you've seen so many of this. What's a common mistake that you see a lot of them make all the time? What's your advice on that? What for them not to do? No? Yeah, we lost you there, Tuan Haji Amran.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Do you want me to run the question again? Mohu, you with me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Tuan Haji Amran. Yeah, I think there's some technical difficulties. Yeah, probably Mohu, you could help answer that. What are the common mistakes you see some of these SMEs making when they want to go international?
Okay, I think
Just a brief.
I used to work as part and parcel of the team that looks into going out of Malaysia, especially looking at international business. So of course we have today you are part of the GAIN program, which actually focuses a lot in terms of mentoring SMEs. Yeah, so I think that's one key point that needs to be looked into.
Mentorship, okay.
I mean, I was also one of entrepreneur before I joined MDEC. I was from the private sector, and what is quite visible is that as an entrepreneur, you are a big risk taker, which is great. But also today, if you want to take a lot of risk, you have to be substantiated with sufficient data. So
Yeah.
it's a global market today. If you're looking at going out, number one is I'm sure you have validated your product, but after validating your product, okay, Chairman, I'm so sorry that you have some difficulty there. If I can, chip in a little bit and hope that you can come back on time quickly.
Yeah.
So once you have validated your product, as I said, then you look at the market, right? So a lot of things we do today is, for example, not looking at the regional market. So how do you actually be relevant to the regional market, and how do you position your product? I think those some of the things that's crucial. And I think if you ask my colleagues who've been working with you and all that, I think one of the biggest thing that they spend a lot of time is actually in terms of coaching founders. That's really important in terms of how do you articulate your product, and that's really a sort of key essential. Your
Wow.
elevator
Wow.
pitch
Yeah,
become
very useful advice there, Mohu.
Yeah, I used to bring a lot of startup to the valley at one point in time before I looked into digitalization, and we spent about 60% of our time working with the accelerators in San Francisco,
Okay.
just on positioning, articulating your value proposition. Because especially in tech, there are probably 100 more people out there doing something sounding very similar to what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you so much. Tuan Haji, do we have you here?
Okay. Yeah. Now okay. Okay,
So
I can.
just under
Sorry.
1 minute, since we're short of time, could you just share with us, what's the direct advice you have for these companies?
Okay.
What are common mistakes that you see, and
Okay.
what not to do? Yeah.
There are a lot of things. But to summarize, please register as Matrix member,
Okay.
because from that, as mentioned just now, we are offering you trade advisory. We are offering you all the do and don'ts. We are offering you export opportunities to facilitate all of this for you to into the market. Grants available. There are several kind of grants to help you. So, because the question that you ask is a huge topic that it takes a lot of time to.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want also to highlight to you, apart from direct exporting for internationalization, that exporting, we also assisting our companies for reverse investment. If you want to invest in the host country target market, we do that, and also we also assist you in joint venture, partnering, and franchising. With the target countries companies, your partner, for example. A lot of things we can assist agents, and also solving problems. If your things stuck at the custom, we also assisting doing that. And do not underestimate the export market. Learn your trade, know what you are doing, know your products, know your services, what you want to export, and know the people, the agents, and the services that you are going to engage. It is as simple as knowing yourself, the strength and weaknesses of your companies, your team, your resources. Because export market is very interesting. The opportunity is huge. We always have the issue is that it's not that a lack of demand, but we have lack of supply in Malaysia to export. Okay, that's our advice lah. So please register as Matrix member.
Thank you, Tuan Haji. That's a good advice. If I can just share to sum up this, my experience as well as an entrepreneur, I think that the typical mindset of entrepreneurs going global is, normally to attend B2B conference, and it's been going on for a while, and see how it goes from there onwards. If it works, it works. It doesn't work. I think they need to take a step further with this. We normally go, especially out of Malaysia, with the mindset of expansion, meaning it's not the partners that you could meet, but it's the partners that you could really drag to the exhibition. So when we go to the exhibition, and we don't just conduct a one-to-one meeting at the exhibition, we make it a point that these are the people that we should meet, and if they're not at the exhibition, then normally we call up MDEC or even Matre, like, hey, how can we organize this meeting? In some cases, we go direct. They don't really layan us, right? Or they don't entertain us, and then sometimes it helps when the agencies, we know in the past with Matre, they made a call and suddenly there was an interest, so that helped us in a way. And I think direct approach is actually very good, because our mindset is to export and to also be in that country. So what do we need in terms of working with the right clients, right? Not just based on that introduction, and if it works, it works. If it not, then on to the next exhibition, right? So
Yeah, Joe. At least going with material of MDEC, at least 50% or 60% of DOP already gone, because we are government agencies. And then for information, actually they can be charged. Our company can be charged normally about $100 per company per introduction. Imagine, but we providing this free of charge.
wow.
And the credible potential importers. Imagine that.
Yeah, what else are these entrepreneurs waiting for? They should follow Tuan Haji Zamran Q there, register with Matre, and with MDEC, I think a lot of these other programs as well. So to the audience out there, please take down the advice of these two panelists seriously. I know I'm taking notes now, and so should you. So with that, I want to end today's panel. Thank you to both our esteemed panelists for your time today. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Assalamualaikum and stay safe.
Thank you to the organizer.